the significance of having toilets, sanitation facilities in our households, in our public places. So every year we come together to commemorate this day to remind ourselves on the importance of having toilets, latrines, waste management system in our households, in our public places. This year, the theme is accelerating change. Yeah. And what does that mean? It means we need to work faster than we are working right now. If you look at it, the issue of sanitation and hygiene in the past has been thrown to the background. But thank God recently the awareness has improved greatly, and there is sensitization and campaign all over the country. In fact, the whole world, that we must give attention to sanitation. Once we take care of our basic water and sanitation issues, we'll put 95% of diseases away. And that is why this year we have embarked on campaigns in marketplaces, in motor parks, in public places, in households, to sensitize our communities, to remind ourselves, you and me, that it is good to have toilet facilities in our households. And that is why the accelerating change means each individual, everyone is a stakeholder. You can do your own part, I will do my own part. You need to go back to your household, to your community, to your former school, to your alma mater, to see the need to have the basic sanitation facilities. So if you do your own part, I do my own part, the nation will be better for it. So that is why we have embarked on this sensitization across all the 6 area councils of the territory.
Now, very close to the commemoration of World Toilet Day is the issue and the menace, so to speak, of open defecation. Of course, FCT, as we've been told, according to the 2021 Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, that is WASH routine mapping report, 30% of FCT residents participate in open defecation. Now, I know that as an agency, as a directorate, efforts have been made to ensure that public toilets are provided in very key and strategic places. I want you to speak to, first of all, this very discouraging report, about 30% of FCT residents still participating in open defecation, and the efforts being made by the Directorate, especially with this public-private partnership initiative of establishing toilets in key areas of the FCT.
Thank you very much. We have the institutional sanitation. We also have the community sanitation and the household sanitation aspect. In the homes, of course, government is not expected to come and construct toilets for individuals. You are encouraged to construct toilets in your own houses using the basic materials available. However, in public places, there is need to make that provision because it's a call of nature. From nowhere, you feel the urge to ease yourself, and you must do that. So, but we looked at the strategies that has been deployed, the techniques and the actions in other places. And we try in FCT to see what is best for FCT, looking at the peculiarities of the Federal Capital Territory and the diverse groups that we have. And we felt the need that the first action to do is to conduct awareness and sensitization campaign, because you and I, we need to change our mindset. We need to change our behaviors. We need to have a different approach to what we used to in the past, because it is that behavior change that will count first. Because if we got the facilities all over, yes, it's another thing to use them. To use. Yes, because the facilities may be there and people still prefer the air conditioning, open air defecation. So we need to sensitize ourselves that wait, don't do that. There are health implications. All these diseases around, you see they are water, sanitation, and hygiene related. So once we change our mindset, then we'll have the need to start using those toilets. And we look at the strategy, because government has a lot of competing demands. There's no such fund to deploy into this aspect of public toilets. So this concept was brought that why not call private investors? Yes. When you call them, they partner with government and collaborate. Government will provide the enabling environment, and they will be provided with the specification and designs, and they construct these toilets. operate and manage it, while the government agency will supervise and regulate the practice, ensure it is safe, is sanitized, and the people are allowed to use it at a very minimal cost. What about all the relevant agencies? In fact, as long as you live in FCT or you visit FCT, you are a stakeholder, because this is something to do with safely managing our waste. Even if you come to FCT for an hour, you may feel the urge to ease yourself. So you are a stakeholder. So therefore, we have to take all that into consideration. Looking at it, if one person defecates in the open in FCT, nobody is safe. True. So with the 30%, which is about 2 million people in the FCT defecating in the open, we are not safe. So how do we do that? So we need to change our mindset first and tackle the issues head on. So FCT declared state of emergency on water, sanitation, and hygiene, and we set a target of 2025 to ensure that FCT is free from open defecation. Yes,
I wanted to ask you on the update on that. Where are we with that target? This is 2023 ending already.
With that target of 2025, yes, ahead of the 2030 set by the United Nations, after the declaration of state of emergency by the FCT administration, that was the groundbreaking for construction of public toilets. Yeah. However, not just that, the public toilets. We also look at in our communities, especially the rural communities. So if you look at it nationally, out of the 774 local government areas, we have, as at last year, we had 100 local government areas that were certified and verified to be open defecation free. A year after now, we have 105. Yes. However, FCT with 6 area councils, none is in that map. Yeah. So it's a challenge to us now. So we set a target of January 2024 to ensure that we have at least 1 out of the 6 area councils in FCT as open defecation free. And we have selected Kwali to serve as a model. And right now, our food soldiers are in the field with the support of UNICEF and other development partners to ensure that Kwali area councils becomes open defecation free by January 2024. And we want to use the experience that we gather from Kwali, all the challenges, experiences, and replicate them in the other 5 area councils such that it will become easier now. Having learned a lot of lessons in Kwali, then we'll now go to the area councils and ensure that by 2025, FCT becomes open defecation free.
Okay, because you say it's about behavioral change, which is very, very apt and important, I want you to speak to us about the implications more. What are the implications of open defecation? Because it's like many people don't know about what it means. That like you mentioned in the passing, if one person defecates openly, is a danger to everybody. So I want you to speak to what are those dangers of open defecation.
Thank you very much. The first thing we'll have to realize is 1 gram of that shit, of that excreta, of that kashi, because some people feel ashamed to even say the word. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just like saying water. Yes. You can't be ashamed of saying water. So you say it openly.
So that's why you are the ambassador of shit?
Yes, I'm the FCT ambassador of shit. So we have to safely manage our shit. 1 gram of shit, which is just like the tip of my finger, 1 gram contains 1 million viruses, 1,000 cysts, parasite cysts, and germs, and bacteria, and viruses. So if you look at that 1 gram with millions of germs, viruses, and bacteria, and it gets in contact with the human body, or flies touch it, and they touch our water or our food, and we ingest it into our system, then this affects the metabolic system and results in diarrhea, cholera, and other related diseases to do with poor sanitation. And most especially, the children are more vulnerable than even the adults, because the metabolic system of the children have not really matured, developed to such a stage to kind of defend themselves against those viruses. So they are easily vulnerable, especially children that are less than 5 years old. Once they develop diarrhea, in 30 minutes, you can lose a child, because all the water in the system will be drained out. So even as an adult, you can imagine it. when you have diarrhea. So, and cholera and dysentery and what have you. So, and by the time the water is contaminated, you have typhoid fever and all sorts, and the environment is not clean, provides room for mosquitoes to breed, and malaria sets in. Even the wild polio virus is transmitted through the feces. Thank God Nigeria is certified wild polio virus free now for about 7 years. So this is the campaign that we are in, that this open defecation has a lot of health implications. And once we really contain it, there is even good in this sheet that we're talking about. Okay. We can safely manage this sheet, treat it and convert it to organic manure. We can use a biodigester, treat it and extract it as manure. We can also extract the methane gas, which can be used in cooking. So there are a lot of things that we can do. There's a sanitation value chain in which when we provide jobs for our youth in managing this sanitation, it's reduced unemployment, alleviates poverty.
Is the thinking in this direction anytime soon?
Yes, we are also thinking along this line. We have had presentations from private sector coming to present to us models of systems that we can convert this sheet into organic manure. We can also convert it into methane gas, whether as in individual households or collectively. So we've had presentations on this, but we want to go one step at a time. First, by sensitizing our people, communicating with them, directly with them. We want to hear from them, and then they hear from us, and let them know that this, we have to have ownership. They are stakeholders in this. There is a lot of money in sanitation economy, which even it will increase to the gross domestic product of the country. Yes, so we are looking at that.
Okay, with respect to close to this is also the issue of water supply, because if you look at the name of your directorate, FCT Rural Water Supply, that's what it starts with. And water is very closely related to sanitation, and sanitation is also closely related to our well-being,
yes.
Generally. Now, I know that there have been efforts, especially with collaboration with other development agencies like Water Aid, in providing water, especially in schools in our rural communities. Speak to us about some of these developments within the Directorate's purview.
Thank you very much. As you know, water and sanitation, they go together. Yeah. It's an integrated whole. You can't do one without the other. So they go hand in hand. You can't have good sanitation without water. So we have mapped out a strategy in ensuring we have basic and safe water supply in our rural communities. This was started 2 years ago when there was outbreak of cholera, and there was an emergency project on water, which was directed by the minister then to ensure that all those vulnerable communities and those that were affected by cholera attack 2 years ago were provided with water schemes through the exploitation of groundwater resource and through boreholes, hand pump boreholes and the solar powered boreholes. And we don't just go to provide the water schemes. We interact with the communities, we mobilize them, we set up what we call WASHCOMs, Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Committees, such that we want the community members to own the project, to own the facilities. So this committee is selected by the community members themselves. They run the schemes. So once they run the schemes, it becomes sustainable. And you see it running all year round. And where they have maintenance challenges, we also have a concept called VLOM, Village Level Operation and Maintenance, where we train artisans that are resident in the communities. We train them to handle some minor maintenance. Once the maintenance is beyond their own level, then they report back to the directorate, where we look at it and help them to maintain it. But at the same time, we also provide them with tools in which to do this maintenance. So in that way, when we have a reporting system, because we've taken sensors and there are some schemes that are still not functional now. So we've done that in Buari, we've done that in the other area councils too, where we train artisans. Yes. On the other aspect, like Kwali that I said, we have taken it as a model for eradication of open defecation. Yes. We have triggered 429 communities. In Kwali, when we started, we had challenges in some communities that had security issues that we didn't go. But this year, we're able to get to those communities and And right now we've covered 429 communities in Kwali.
Wow.
So that's why we are really pushing forward. So that by January we declare Kwali open defecation free. As we do the sanitation, we also bring in water with it, so that to ensure that they have safe drinking water and stop taking water directly from the streams. So that is the map.
All right.
Yes.
Now your activities are basically in rural communities, and we know how important the role of traditional and religious leaders and also community leaders are in such communities. How has been the collaboration between the Directorate and especially the traditional institutions in the communities that you are working in?
Thank you very much. That is very important because most of our work is community-based.
Yes.
And the first thing we do in community entry is to get to meet the traditional leaders first, because you get into somebody's domain, you must first of all get yourself introduced and what you are there for. So all the 17 chiefdoms, they are part of this project of rural water supply and sanitation in the FCT. Like the Kwali that I talked to you about, the late Esu of Kwali was the champion of our entry into Kwali. May his soul rest in peace. He gave us tremendous support while we had a stakeholders meeting. All the other chiefs in the chiefdom were called upon, and we had a meeting in his palace several times to engage, and he introduced certain concepts and techniques to ensure that each household must construct toilet, and they were given deadline. And then he also emphasized that we need to put in carrot and stick approach. Those who do well have a reward system. Those who don't do well have a way of enforcement. So all the 17 chiefdoms are really part of this project to end open defecation and ensure that we have safe drinking water. And we have ongoing projects in terms of provision of water schemes also in these chiefdoms right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, but the question I want to ask, because I was in your office yesterday and I saw cartons and cartons and cartons of what looks to me like mobile toilets. So I don't know what they are, but I want you to speak to me about that. Are they part of the ongoing campaign?
Yes, it is part of the sanitation campaign, actually, in the rural communities. Those items you saw, I will have brought one here, but sorry, I didn't know you were going to ask. It's a kind of, if you know the WC in urban centers, the squatting type, where you squat on it. So that type, but in the plastic form. So that plastic kind of squatting WC is what we use in the construction of latrines in the rural communities. So UNICEF provides they call it Sato Pan. It's produced by a company, Lixil, in Japan. But however, with partnership, there is a company in Enugu, Innocent Technology, that have gotten the patent from the Japanese company. So it's produced in Enugu here by Innocent Technologies. So that plastic serves as the WC, like the squatting WC. It has a cover, so automatically it covers itself, and it uses very minimal amount of water to flush the sheet. So it's called Satopan. So UNICEF has now arranged to give us almost 8,000 pieces of it to start with as a model. It's going to be like a revolving fund, kind of. So the communities buy it at a subsidized rate, and when they pay back, that money is recycled, and another one is gotten direct from the company. So that way you recycle it, and the community members are able to buy it at a subsidized rate. So it's called Satopan. So that's the first model we want to use to introduce. Already some members of the communities have started getting it from the toilet business owners outside in the market. But this one provided by UNICEF is a kind of subsidized rate for them to buy and then pay in, and then the company will now be providing to us. And then we take records and inventory of which household has gotten it, so that there will be follow-up and monitoring on the usage of it. It's just to ensure that we have improved toilets in the households.
All right, of course we're coming to the end of the interview, but I won't end this without asking if there is any other thing that you want FCT residents to know, particularly about the activities of your office, briefly.
Thank you very much. My appeal to my brothers and sisters is water, sanitation, and hygiene is very critical in the household, in the community, in the local government, in the state, in the FCT, and as a nation in general. So therefore, I would like the cooperation of all Nigerians, and even non-Nigerians resident in Nigeria, to cooperate and ensure that we accelerate the change we want. This change can only happen when we start with ourselves. We go back to our household, make the provision, go back to our former schools, come collectively. So I'm appealing to all Nigerians to be part of this drive to end open defecation, not just in FCT, but in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you.
Are there development partners that you would like to appreciate?
Yes, thank you very much. We've had tremendous support from UNICEF. They have been supporting us right from day one. And they are the #1 partners in our project in Kwali. And right now, we're on the drawing table to also add Gwagolada as part of that intervention in eradicating open defecation. And also, we have Water Aid Nigeria that has taken Buhari as their own area council to use as a model. Right now, we have water and sanitation projects going on in Buhari in 4 communities: Barangoni, Dakwa, Tudun Fulani, and Zuma 2. We have water and sanitation projects going on almost at about 90% completion stage. And that support was provided by Latter Day Saints Assembly. It's a charity organization that gave the fund to Water Aid. And then RUWASSA will be there to ensure we take ownership and the communities take ownership and is used. And that project in those 4 communities is costing almost more than 130 million naira that has been provided to Water Aid. So, and they are even thinking of more. Just last week, we did an assessment of Sabongari in Buhari to have an additional community to benefit from that fund, because they got the support in dollars with this new exchange rate.
Okay.
So there is more naira in the fund they got. So we are now planning to add more communities, and Sabongari in Buhari will be the next, by God's grace.
Okay.
So it's they are really, and then we also have local NGOs like the HIP City, the other NGOs within locally that are coming to support. Some have different direction. There are those who are dealing with neglected tropical diseases. So what are those aspects of WASH that we can apply in non-tropical diseases? And then also the National Center for Senior Citizens under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. We're also collaborating with them to see what is the aspect of water, sanitation, and hygiene that will benefit the senior citizens. And also Ushafa in Buhari is also used as a model to see how we can apply WASH to our senior citizens.
Okay. And on that note, I have to say sincere thank you very much. And I wouldn't forget to tell you that we have a program, FCT Call Center, on radio and even on TV. And people have actually called in to appreciate and commend FCT RUWASSA, especially with respect to the public-private partnership toilets that have been provided in strategic locations around the 6 area councils of the FCT. They say that they are the cleanest, and they have encouraged them to, of course, continue to use the toilet. We only wish you the best so that you can continue to do what you do to ensure that our rural communities become safer and more hygienic. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Ali Dan-Hassan, for being our guest on this segment.
Thank you for having me.
And on that note, we go on this quick break where we'll be joining the Investment Plus team for the Investment Plus segment for today. And thereafter, our second interview will be underway. Do stay around. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Investment Plus. Today, I'm here to share with you 3 essential rules that when you follow them diligently, you will definitely start your journey to building wealth. Rule number 1, you need to spend less than you earn. It sounds very simple, but a lot of people don't do it. Many people fall into the trap of living beyond their means. Now, that would be, let's say you earn 100,000 and you're spending 120,000, 150,000. There is no way you can build wealth that way. to build wealth, we must break free from the cycle of living in debt and overspending. Now, the question you want to ask is, this extra 20,000 that I have that I always overspend with, where do I get it from? It's actually from borrowing or dipping into future income that you have not even earned. So you need to cut that habit of overspending. What you need to do is to